I give you this ring as a symbol of my vow,
And I give you myself.
with all my heart.
What happens when the foundation of a seemingly perfect life begins to crack? What if your greatest strength becomes your most devastating weakness? The story we're about to unfold starts like many others, a life of wealth, success, and the illusion of happiness. But beneath the surface of luxury and power lies a chilling secret that, once exposed, will shatter everything. Today, we dive into a tale of deception, betrayal, and a marriage that turns from paradise to nightmare in the blink of an eye. In today's video, we explore the life of a powerful millionaire who believes his world is untouchable. He has everything: a luxurious home, an adoring wife, and a thriving empire. But when his wife, the woman he thought he knew inside and out, reveals a horrifying secret, the perfect life he's built begins to crumble. This revelation sets off a chain of events that will test their marriage in ways he never anticipated. The once confident man, sure that he controlled every aspect of his life, is now forced to confront a new reality. His wife's secret turns their world upside down, and the stakes grow higher with every passing moment. She is no longer the passive partner he assumed her to be. She's not just fighting for survival, she's fighting for control, and what comes next will leave him questioning everything he ever believed about trust, loyalty, and love. It's a quiet evening in the grand penthouse. The city lights outside flicker like distant stars, casting long shadows across the sleek, immaculate furniture. The sound of silence is suffocating, a heavy stillness that hangs in the air. Every corner of the room speaks of wealth and success, but there's something darker creeping around the edges, a sense that things are not as they seem. In the center of this perfect illusion stands the billionaire, his face sharp with tension. His eyes dart nervously as his wife, the woman who was supposed to be his pillar, sits across from him. She's calm, composed, but there's an unmistakable coldness in her gaze that unsettles him. She's holding something back, something powerful, something dangerous. As he watches her, a growing unease settles deep in his chest. He doesn't know it yet, but this is the moment that will change everything. The tension in the room thickens, as though the very air is holding its breath, waiting for the storm that's about to hit. But what if this isn't just about secrets? What if the truth she's about to reveal is far more devastating than anything he's prepared for? Could the man who built his empire with control, manipulation, and dominance have underestimated the one person who truly knew him? Let's find out as we dive deeper into the story. The penthouse is eerily quiet. The sharp click of the clock on the wall is the only sound that fills the spacious room. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, the bright lights of the city twinkle like 1,000 stars, oblivious to the quiet storm brewing inside. The vastness of the penthouse mirrors the growing divide between the couple sitting across from each other. The once glamorous surroundings that spoke of wealth and success now feel suffocating, sterile, almost cold. The luxury and opulence they've carefully built together can no longer mask the cracks that are slowly widening. A perfect marriage, or so he thought, now feels more like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. The silence between them hangs heavy, punctuated only by the occasional, shallow breath. He sits in a leather chair, his posture stiff, eyes scanning her face, searching for any sign of emotion, any clue that might explain the storm of unease rising within him. His gaze flicks to the perfectly manicured glass table in front of them, as though trying to ground himself in something familiar. Yet, nothing feels familiar anymore. She sits on the couch, calm, composed. Her eyes are focused, but they don't meet his. There's a coldness in her gaze that is impossible to ignore, a depth to it that unsettles him. He's used to having control, used to being the one who dictates the terms of everything in his life, but not now. Not with her. She's become an enigma he can't decode, and it drives him to the edge. He feels it now, deep in his gut, the unsettling realization that something has shifted, that things are no longer the same. His chest tightens as he sits in his chair, trying to maintain his composure, to hold on to the control he once had over every aspect of his life. The empire he built, the wealth, the power, it all seemed so secure, so indestructible. But here, in this moment, all that control slips through his fingers like sand. His mind races with questions he can't answer. What happened to the woman he married? Where is the warm, loving partner he thought he knew? the one who supported his every decision, the one who walked beside him, sharing his dreams and aspirations. What happened to that connection? Fear creeps into his thoughts, gnawing at the edges of his mind. Not fear of losing his empire, not fear of losing his wealth, but fear of losing control of the one thing he thought he could always count on, his marriage. Across from him, she remains still. Her calmness is a paradox. While he sits on the edge of his seat, a tight knot of anxiety in his chest, she exudes a sense of peace, a quiet confidence. But it's not the peaceful calm of someone who's at ease, it's the calm before a storm. And he can feel it, the subtle shift in her demeanor, the way her eyes now seem to look through him instead of at him. Her presence feels like a wall, impenetrable, and it unnerves him. He can't take it anymore. The silence stretches on, suffocating. His hands clench into fists as he leans forward in his chair, the veneer of control cracking. His voice comes out sharp, raw, betraying the frustration building inside him. What do you want from me? The question is not just a demand for an answer. It's a plea, a desperate cry for something to anchor him, for something that will return him to the world he thought he knew. For a long moment, she doesn't respond. Her silence only deepens the tension. He watches her closely, searching for any sign of a crack, any hint of vulnerability that might reveal what she's hiding. But she offers none. She simply sits there, eyes fixed on the floor, as though she's made her decision, and the moment of confrontation has arrived. Finally, her eyes flick up to meet his, her gaze calm but unwavering. It's not the response he expected. She's not afraid, not trembling with guilt or shame. Instead, there's an undeniable sense of finality in the way she looks at him. She's made her choice, and it's a choice that will destroy everything. Her words are simple, but their weight is enough to crush him. I don't want anything from you. You're the one who's lost everything. His heart skips a beat, the room around him spinning as her words sink in. What does she mean by that? What does she know that he doesn't? In an instant, the ground beneath him feels unsteady, and for the first time in years, the once untouchable billionaire feels small, vulnerable, helpless. He opens his mouth to respond, but no words come. The words she spoke echo in his mind, louder and louder, until they drown out everything else. You're the one who's lost everything. What did she mean by that? What had he lost that he wasn't aware of? What secret was she holding back? And more importantly, what was she going to do with it? The tension in the room ratchets up, thick with unspoken truths and the promise of a revelation that will change everything. He feels his grip on the situation slipping further, but he's not sure how to stop it. He's used to being in control, but now, control is no longer an option. The silence between them grows, a dark abyss that threatens to swallow everything. He wants to reach out, to make sense of it all, but something inside him holds him back. He's too afraid to know the truth, yet he knows that the truth is the only thing that can set him free. The storm is about to break, and in that moment, he realizes he's not prepared for what's coming next. Characters' growing struggles. The days following the revelation hang heavy in the air, each passing hour like an eternity of unresolved tension. For the billionaire, it's as if his world has fractured into countless, jagged pieces, each piece a new, unsettling thought. The foundation he once stood on, so solid, so unwavering, has crumbled, and now he's scrambling to put it all together again. He paces around his office, running a hand through his perfectly combed hair, but nothing feels right. The luxury, the power, the control, everything that had once defined him, feels like a hollow echo in the vast emptiness of his mind. He can't understand it. He can't control her anymore. The woman he thought he knew inside and out has become an enigma, a puzzle he can't solve, and it gnaws at him, making him question everything he's ever believed about power and control. At night, when he lays in bed, the silence is deafening. His wife's words echo in his mind. You're the one who's lost everything. What did she mean? What was she keeping from him? His mind races, thoughts colliding in a whirlwind of confusion, anger, and helplessness. He's never been in a position like this before. He's always been in control, always the one with the power. But now, everything feels uncertain. It's not just the fear of losing his empire that keeps him up at night, it's the fear that he's losing her. That somehow, he has crossed a line, pushed her too far, and there's no coming back. He's watched her change, But he never imagined she would turn into someone who could pull the rug out from under him with such cold precision. The tension finally snaps. It's a late evening, and they've barely exchanged words in days. He can feel the pressure building, the weight of the unsaid words pressing on his chest. Finally, he can't take it anymore. He approaches her as she's sitting at the grand dining table, flipping through a stack of papers, some business, some personal. Her face is calm, detached, but he sees the subtle tension in her posture, the slight clenching of her jaw. It's as if she's waiting for him to finally confront her. He takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The anger is there, bubbling just beneath the surface, but he knows he needs to control it, at least for now. "What do you want from me?" he asks, his voice trembling with frustration. "Why are you doing this? Why are you holding this secret over my head? I've given you everything. Everything." She looks up slowly, her eyes unreadable, and for a moment, he wonders if she'll remain silent again, as she has for the past few days. But she doesn't. Instead, she stands up, walking towards him with a calm, deliberate pace. "You think you know everything about me." Her voice is icy, dripping with sarcasm. "You have no idea who I really am. All this time, you've been too busy with your empire to notice the cracks in your own life. I'm not the woman you married." Her words hit him like a slap to the face, but they don't fully register. Not yet. He stands frozen for a moment, her accusation hanging in the air like an accusation he's too afraid to confront. She steps closer, and for the first time in days, she looks directly into his eyes, unflinching, daring him to challenge her. "You think I am the problem," she continues, her voice low, steady. "But it's not me who's been hiding the truth. You've been living in a bubble, controlling everything, pretending like you're the only one who matters. Well, guess what? You're not." In that moment, everything changes. Her words hit him harder than he ever could have imagined. The pieces begin to fall into place, and with a sickening realization, he understands the truth. He's not in control of the game anymore. He never was. He's spent so long building his empire, making all the decisions, calling the shots, believing he could manipulate and control every situation. He thought he had the perfect marriage, the perfect life, but he's been blind to the woman standing before him, the woman who was playing her own game, one he didn't even know existed. In that instant, the weight of the truth crashes down on him, suffocating him. He realizes that the woman he's been so desperate to control has already outsmarted him. He thought he was the master, the one who held all the cards, but she's been holding the ace the entire time. The terrifying truth sinks in. He's the one who's been played all along. His mind spins. The betrayal, the manipulation, it's not just personal anymore. This is bigger. This is about everything he's ever worked for, everything he's built. His empire, his reputation, his legacy, they're all on the line now, and he knows it. His heart pounds in his chest as the stakes rise higher. She's no longer just a wife with a hidden secret. She's a player in a dangerous game, one that threatens to dismantle everything he's ever known. The facade of their perfect marriage is collapsing, and the wreckage is far-reaching. But there's something more terrifying now. As much as he wants to fight back, to regain control, he's starting to realize that it might be too late. She's not backing down, and every move she makes chips away at the very foundation of his life. The danger is growing with each passing moment, and he knows that he's not prepared for what's coming next. The stakes have never been higher. With every new piece of information she reveals, every new truth she exposes, the more dangerous the game becomes. And as he stands there, helpless, he knows there's no turning back now. What began as a fight for control has spiraled into something far more dangerous, something that could destroy them both. And as the tension escalates, the final reckoning seems closer than ever. The room is tense. The silence hangs heavy between them, thickening with every passing moment. The billionaire stands across from his wife, his heart racing as if it's trying to break free from his chest. His mind is a whirlwind of thoughts, swirling with confusion, anger, and a creeping sense of dread. He knows something is coming. He feels it in his bones. Her eyes are unreadable as she stares at him, the tension between them palpable, suffocating. Every word they've exchanged in the past few days feels like a veil, thin and fragile, hiding something far more dangerous beneath it. She's been so calm, so collected, but there's an intensity in her gaze now that he can't ignore. The The walls feel like they are closing in on him. He's never felt this vulnerable, never felt so unprepared. His empire, his control, his very sense of self, everything he's built, feels like it's crumbling, piece by piece, in front of him. And she's the one holding the pieces. His mind races, trying to anticipate what's coming. He's been in control for so long, managing every situation, manipulating every outcome, but now, in the face of his wife's silence, he's powerless. The fear of what she's about to reveal is starting to gnaw at him, inching closer to the surface with every breath he takes. And then, she speaks. Her voice is calm, steady, but it sends a chill down his spine. You've been so focused on your own world, on your empire, your wealth. You thought you were untouchable. She pauses, letting the weight of her words settle. He opens his mouth to speak, but she holds up a hand, silencing him. You thought I was just some woman you married for appearances. That's what you wanted to believe, isn't it? That I was just a trophy on your arm, someone you could control. Her eyes narrow, her gaze hardening. But you've underestimated me. You've underestimated who I really am. He feels a cold shiver run down his spine. There's something about her tone that makes his blood run cold, something calculated, something dangerous. You think I married you for money? For the power? She continues, her voice dropping to a whisper, but it cuts through him like a knife. You have no idea what you've done to me. The air feels thick with anticipation, and for the first time, he's afraid. He doesn't know what she's about to say, but whatever it is, it's enough to shatter everything. My father, he lost everything because of you. The words drop like a bombshell, echoing in the silence that follows. His mind goes blank. For a moment, he can't breathe. The room spins, the walls closing in even tighter. He feels the blood drain from his face, his hands trembling. Her father, the name rings a bell, but he can't remember the specifics. He's worked with so many people, made so many deals over the years, it's hard to keep track. But this revelation changes everything. He takes a step back, his thoughts swirling in a desperate frenzy. What are you talking about? His voice is shaky, low, barely above a whisper. I thought you knew, she says coldly, as if this is the most obvious thing in the world. You destroyed him. You crushed his business, took everything he worked for, and left him with nothing. And I was there, watching it all, watching you destroy my family, my life. You thought you could do whatever you wanted, but you didn't count on me. His legs feel weak, as if the ground beneath him has just vanished. The empire he's built, the power he's wielded, none of it matters now. He's paralyzed by the weight of her words. For the first time in his life, he's the one who's been exposed. The perfect marriage, the perfect life, it was all a lie, and he never saw it coming. His mind races, but it's like he's standing still, trapped in a nightmare he can't wake up from. Her father, he remembers now. The name, the face, the deal that had gone bad years ago. He never thought it would come back to haunt him like this. He never imagined the consequences of his actions could come crashing down on him like this, through the woman he married. He stands frozen, unable to move, unable to speak. The guilt floods over him in waves, flooding his chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. For the first time in years, he feels like nothing more than a man who has lost control. The woman he thought was a pawn in his life, a silent partner in his world of wealth and power, has just shown him how little he truly knows. She's been the one pulling the strings all along, and now he's the one caught in her trap. The silence between them grows heavier with each passing second. Everything between them has shifted in an instant. The bond they once shared is shattered, fractured beyond repair. The walls that separated them have crumbled, revealing the truth of who they really are and what's been hiding beneath the surface. She's no longer the victim. She's no longer the woman he could manipulate or control. She's the one holding all the power now. The revelation has flipped the power dynamic completely, and is left standing there, broken and defeated, staring at the woman who once seemed so perfect for him. She's not the woman he thought she was, and for the first time, he's forced to confront the real cost of his actions, the lives he's destroyed in the name of power and greed. I never wanted this, you know, she says, her voice barely a whisper. I never wanted to ruin your life, but you made me do this. You made me take everything from you. And now you'll finally see what it's like to lose everything. The words sting, like salt on an open wound. He tries to speak, tries to defend himself, but the words won't come. He's too far gone, too lost in the truth of her revelation. And as she walks away, leaving him standing there, shattered and alone, he realizes just how deeply he's been deceived. The game he thought he was playing was never his to win. The weight of her words hangs over him like a storm cloud, heavy and suffocating. Each day, the guilt gnaws at him, digging deeper into his conscience. He can't escape it. Every time he looks at her, he's reminded of everything he's done, everything he thought he could get away with. The woman who once seemed like a trophy, a piece of his perfect life, is now the person holding the power to unravel him completely. The billionaire's mind is consumed by the revelation, haunted by the fact that he has no control over his own life anymore. His once unshakable confidence has been replaced by a gnawing fear, an awareness that he has lost the one thing that mattered most: control. He can't stop replaying her words in his mind. "You destroyed my family." Each time he tries to focus, to push forward, the memory of that moment overwhelms him. His empire, the empire he built from nothing, now feels fragile. It's a house of cards, and every gust of wind, every decision he makes, feels like it might topple it all. His heart beats in his chest like a drum, but it doesn't feel like a sign of life. It feels like a countdown to the inevitable destruction he's brought upon himself. He knows it's just a matter of time before everything he worked for slips through his fingers. Her eyes are constantly on him now, watching, studying. There's no mercy in them. He can't escape her gaze, the judgment that lingers with every interaction. And no matter how many times he tries to act as if nothing has changed, the truth lingers between them, suffocating any remaining connection they had. The billionaire's world is starting to crumble, and he can feel it. It begins with the small things, subtle shifts that he can't ignore. His business meetings that once felt like victories are now nothing but struggles. His partners, once loyal, are starting to question his decisions, undermining him behind closed doors. The deal that once seemed like a sure thing is now at risk, and he knows it's because of his lost focus. His mind is elsewhere, consumed by the wreckage of his marriage, the guilt, the fear, and the knowledge that his empire isn't as untouchable as he once believed. Even his personal life is a constant reminder of his failures. The lavish parties, the celebrations, the dinners with important people, it all feels hollow now. They are just distractions, masked to cover the real problem that is slowly eating away at him. His once perfect marriage, the one he thought he had everything under control, is a constant reminder of his deepest mistake. Every conversation with his wife feels like a confrontation. She's no longer the woman he married. She's the woman who knows the truth, his truth, and she's using it against him. He tries to show affection, tries to apologize, but there's nothing left to fix. There's no going back to the life he had. It's over. His friends, once a source of strength, now look at him with pity. They see the cracks in his armor. His world, the one he worked so hard to build, is collapsing piece by piece, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. She's not the same woman he married. She's no longer the victim he thought he controlled. Now, it's him who's the victim in this twisted game. The power has shifted, and she holds all the cards. She no longer plays by his rules. In fact, she's rewriting them. Slowly and methodically, she's dismantling everything he once held dear, piece by piece, and he can do nothing to stop it. His every move is being watched, and every word he says feels like it's being dissected, analyzed. He tries to regain control, tries to assert himself, but with every failed attempt, he realizes just how powerless he really is. Her power lies not in her wealth, but in her knowledge of him. She knows his weaknesses, his fears, his mistakes, and she's using them to destroy him. The once docile woman who lived in his shadow has now become his greatest adversary. She's become strategic, cold, calculating. He watches as she moves through their home, their life, as if it's hers now, not his. The mansion that was once a symbol of his success now feels like a prison. She's the one in control of the game, and he's the one on the losing side. There's no escaping her. She's always one step ahead, anticipating his every move, every decision. She knows what buttons to push, what to say, how to make him feel like the small, powerless man he's become. He's desperate now, desperate to fix what's broken, to salvage what's left of his crumbling life. He tries everything. He apologizes, but the words feel hollow. He promises to change, to make things right, but she's unmoved. She's no longer the woman he once knew. The woman he tried to control, the woman who was once so eager to please him, has disappeared, replaced by a version of her he never thought possible. His mind spirals with every failed attempt to regain control. He offers her everything he has, his wealth, his power, his name. But it's never enough. She doesn't want his money. She doesn't want his status. She wants his downfall. And that's exactly what he's giving her. There are moments when he tries to reason with her, to remind her of what they once had. He clings to the hope that they can go back to the way things were. But deep down, he knows it's futile. He's already lost. She's already won. The power she wields is too great, too all-encompassing. He's drowning, and no matter how hard he struggles, he can't seem to find air. Every conversation with her feels like a battle he's losing. Every attempt to reclaim his life feels like a failure. The man who once ruled his world is now a shadow of himself. His empire is slipping through his fingers, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. Every move he makes is wrong. Every word he says is a mistake. And he's running out of time. The billionaire is unraveling. His empire is crumbling, his personal life is shattered, and his desperation to regain control is futile. The power dynamic has shifted, and his wife now holds the upper hand. The consequences of his actions are far-reaching, and there's no escaping them. He's trapped in a life of his own making, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't undo the damage that's been done. The woman he once controlled is now the one in charge, and she's taking everything he once held dear. The tension in the mansion is palpable, thicker than the air itself. Every moment feels like the calm before a storm that has been brewing for months. The walls seem to close in around him as he paces the marble floors of the grand living room. His empire, his life, all of it feels fragile, teetering on the edge of destruction. The woman who once stood by his side, the one he thought he could control, is now his greatest adversary, and she's holding all the power. In the silence of their home, there's no more pretense, no more games. This is it, the final confrontation. The time for bargaining is over, and what's left is the truth. It's inevitable. He can feel it. His body tenses, a cold sweat slicking his palms, as he prepares for the moment that will decide everything. He sees her across the room, standing by the window, staring out at the view she used to admire. But there's no admiration in her eyes anymore. There's something darker now, something that terrifies him. She turns slowly, her gaze locking onto his, and he knows she has been waiting for this moment as much as he has. The end of the line. "Do you understand what's happening?" she asks, her voice calm, almost too calm. But there's a sharp edge to it now, something that makes the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He opens his mouth to respond, to say something, anything, but the words die in his throat. He's not sure if it's a fear or the realization that everything he's built has led to this point. "I never thought it would come to this," he says weakly, his voice breaking as he steps closer, hoping for a sliver of mercy, a chance to make things right. "You and I, this marriage, we can fix it. We can fix everything." She doesn't move, doesn't flinch. Her cold stare never wavers. "You don't get it, do you?" she says, her words dripping with contempt. "It's never been about fixing anything. You destroyed everything the moment you thought you could control me." The finality in her tone hits him harder than he expected. His chest tightens, his heart racing as the weight of her words sinks in. It's true. The control he thought he had over her, over everything, was always an illusion. And now, she's made him pay for it. He stumbles back, his mind reeling. "What do you want from me?" he asks, his voice a desperate whisper. But she doesn't answer. Instead, she simply watches him, as if she's already decided everything. The consequences hit him with the force of a freight train. As she reveals the truth that has been simmering beneath the surface for so long, he finally understands. There is no turning back. She has destroyed him, destroyed the man he thought he was. "You think you can just apologize and everything will be fixed," she says coldly. "You've made your bed. Now lie in it." He doesn't have the strength to argue. He's broken, his pride shattered beyond repair. The empire he spent years building feels like a house of cards, crashing down with every realization. Every lie he told himself, every move he made to keep the power, It's all crumbling before his eyes. His body feels like it's being crushed under the weight of the truth that there's no escaping what he's done. There's no way to undo the harm he's caused, the damage to the woman he thought he could control, the destruction of the life they once had. The mansion, the wealth, the status, none of it matters anymore. It's all meaningless. His empire is collapsing, and in its place is nothing but the hollow echo of his own failure. In a final, desperate attempt to salvage some dignity, he says, "Please, just tell me what I can do to make this right." But there's no answer. There's no mercy in her eyes. She's done with him. As the finality of her words sinks in, the man stands there, frozen in the ruin of everything he once held dear. The grand, opulent mansion that once symbolized his success now feels like a tomb. His life, once filled with certainty and power, has been reduced to a broken shell of what it once was. He reflects on the journey that led him here, the marriage, the promises, the lies, the manipulation. All of it. He thought he could control it, that he could make everything fall into place. But now, standing in front of the woman he betrayed, he sees it for what it truly was: arrogance, greed, and a complete disregard for anyone but himself. "I was wrong," he whispers, but the words feel empty. They don't matter now. Nothing he says will change the fact that he's lost everything. The woman he tried to control has turned everything upside down, and now there's nothing left but the wreckage of his own mistakes. "I'm sorry," he says again, his voice cracking, but she doesn't respond. She doesn't have to. The apology is meaningless, just another hollow attempt to make up for the damages done. He's no longer the man who thought he could control everything. He's a broken man, forced to live with the consequences of his greed and arrogance. Every piece of his perfect life is gone. The wealth, the power, the influence, they mean nothing anymore. The only thing left is the reality of the choices he made and the price he has to pay for them. And as she walks away from him, leaving him standing in the ruins of his own making, he knows he's lost. He's lost it all. And there's no one left to blame but himself. The final confrontation has come, and the millionaire's world is shattered beyond repair. The consequences of his actions have caught up with him, and the realization that there is no turning back is inescapable. The woman he tried to control has taken everything, and now he's left with nothing but the wreckage of his past. He is no longer the man he once was. The life he thought he controlled is gone, and with it, the empire he built. The only thing left is the heavy burden of regret, and the realization that some things can never be fixed. The story ends with the broken man, alone in the mansion that no longer feels like home, forced to confront the ultimate cost of his actions. Closure of the story. What started as a seemingly perfect marriage, built on wealth, power, and control, ended in devastation. The man, once the king of his empire, now stands alone in the ruins of his own making. Power, control, manipulation, none of these things matter in the face of real consequences. He thought he could control everything, his wife, his life, his legacy, but in the end, it was his own arrogance and deceit that destroyed it all. She, the woman he believed he had under his thumb, turned out to be the one who held all the power. Her secret, her revelation, unraveled everything he thought he knew about love, trust, and control. What started as a game between the two of them has spiraled into something far darker, and now the question remains: will he ever recover from the consequences of his actions? The mansion is silent now, the laughter, the games, the pretensions of a perfect life all vanished. He's lost everything: his empire, his marriage, his self-respect, and now all that remains is the heavy burden of guilt. But is there redemption? Can someone like him ever change? Or is he doomed to live with his past forever? What do you think? Do you believe someone like him, so consumed by greed and power, can ever truly change? Or is he forever trapped in the consequences of his own actions? Could he have done things differently? Or was his downfall inevitable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What's your take on the journey of this millionaire? Was there a point where he could have turned things around? Or was it too late from the very beginning? We want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more compelling stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have plenty more gripping tales of power, betrayal, and unexpected twists coming your way. Stay tuned for the next video, and thank you for being a part of our community.